Page 11, the year 1620. It's an interesting title. They're talking about folk tunes at the top. You can read about folk tunes. Actually, on folk tunes, sometimes you do know who the composer is, but the tune is so common to that country, it's been adopted as a folk tune. And that's fine too, it's not important, but it's just the folk tunes tend to associate to a particular country or part of a country, and they're really fun and they're neat. It's good to know them. If you're going to learn about a country and its culture, learn about the folk tunes for it. Now I'd like to talk about a few things in this piece. We'll start with the dotted rhythms. Hopefully you know dotted rhythms and you know how it works, but I'll explain it again anyway. The dot gets half the value of the note. So you take the value of the note and the value of the dot, you put them together, and that's the dotted note. In this case, 3/4 times, a quarter note gets a count. Therefore, a dot gets half a count. Same as an eighth note, half a count. So a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 counts. So in the first full measure there on here, you're playing the G. It's going to go 1 and 2 and. The A comes on the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and that's how this dotted rhythm works. Same way all the way through. Big deal. Now hopefully you're getting it. If not, you might need to go back to book 1 and go through it again, because it's important that you get it. Don't think I'll get it later. Get it now. Simply because you'll probably have given up later. If you're getting so lost now, you'll give up. So please go back and take your time and get this. Now I want to offer a few fingering suggestions here. I don't like their fingering all the way through this. This is in the key of C major. There's no sharps or flats except for maybe accidentals in there. But we're starting out with 4th finger in the right hand. And then so far, oh, so good. The last measure, the first line, thumb comes down 1 to get, the hand's not moving, just the thumb. They're saying move the hand, because now they're saying use little finger on the G. I disagree. I'm saying leave your hand where it is and just move the thumb down and use 4th finger on that last note on the G. Why? I'll tell you why, because it's important you understand the fingering. The next note, the first note of the second line, is with the thumb. If you play the last note with little finger, you got to go from here to here. That's doable, and you have to do that sometimes, but it's unnecessary here because we can do the 4th finger, and that's a little closer. You might think, well, big deal, it's a little closer. Yes, it does make a difference. So if you can, get closer, and then you can come up. Because there's no break between them. There's no, you don't get any chance. You got to come here to here. It's as if you played both notes with the same finger. That's what it's going to sound like, even though you're changing fingers. So I say use 4th finger on the last note of the first line. Now in the 3rd line down, last measure, you're here. Leave the hand where it is, just move the thumb down. Leave these fingers here, because in the first measure of the last line, you're going to play F with 3rd finger, and you're there. So you didn't move, you're okay. Now when you get to the 3rd measure of the last line, you're going to scrunch your hand up a little bit to move your 4th finger down to the F. And you'll be okay. So you're moving around a little bit. You got to plan for these. For the left hand, you're starting out in C position, okay. Not a problem? Well, sort of. Very slowly, let's do the left hand, 2nd line. The first measures are fine. You're 3-1, 4-2, 5-2. I suggest it's a 5-1. And then here, do a 3-1. Now you can, the next line, you can do a 4-1. 2nd measure, 3rd line, 5-1. Just move the thumb up a little. And then 5-2-1. Now in the last measure, the 3rd line, I recommend a 5-4. Just move your 4th finger up. This between the fourth and fifth fingers, to have one note in between them, is very common in piano, so please don't shy away from that. Go here. Because in the next measure, the first measure, the last line, I need a 2 on the A. And if I put a 4 here, I can reach that. If I use a third finger on the last note of the third line, then I got to reach way up here, and that's hard to do. So fourth finger, and then the rest of it is fine. So try those fingerings out and see if they work for you all right. I'm trying to explain the fingering a little bit so you kind of understand where I'm coming from, and just not haphazardly doing stuff. You plan the fingering, you figure it out as part of learning the piece. Having all that, now you do the dynamics and all that, and if you want to sing it, you go right ahead and sing it. I ain't singing it, blah, but you can. So I'm going to give us 2 counts. Let's play this together slowly, just to check the notes and the rhythms and all that. So you're starting out here and here. Okay. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3 and 1.